played a lot of games, some good, some bad, and some underrated. But out of all the games I've played, I have never seen a bigger hatred of a game than Sonic the Hedgehog, the game that celebrated the 15th anniversary of the Sonic series. My question is it really as bad as everybody says, or is there a hidden gem? Well, let's see what I think. Let's take a look.
I'm Sonic! Sonic the Hedgehog!
Not the irritating hedgehog again! Attack!
The game is divided in 3 separate storylines that tie in to each other: Sonic's story, Shadow's story, and Silver's story. I'll begin with Sonic's. It's the Festival of the Sun in the beautiful Soliana, where it's hosted by Princess Elise. The festivities gets interrupted by Dr. Eggman as he wishes to attain the secrets of the Flames of Disaster. But Sonic interferes and saves Elise, only for her to get kidnapped, but she ends up giving Sonic her Chaos Emerald. So with the help of Tails and Knuckles, Sonic not only has to stop Eggman from getting the secrets and take over the world, but also save Elise in the process.
Wow, that's a pretty snazzy performance there.
Shadow's story involves the Black Hedgehog now working for GUN. For those who haven't played the expert mode of Shadow the Hedgehog won't know why this happens. Is sent on a mission to rescue a missing agent in White Acropolis. The missing agent turns out to be Rouge the Bat, as she is sent to retrieve an item known as the Scepter of Darkness. Arriving at the GUN rendezvous point, they are confronted by Eggman. Eggman foolishly punches Rouge, causing her to drop the scepter, which shatters and releases a being known as Mephiles.
Oh, how ironic fate can be.
So it's up to Shadow and Rouge, along with the help of Omega, needs to find out who is Mephiles and what is his ultimate plan.
Mephiles? Who is he?
Then we got the new character, Silver the Hedgehog. Silver's story involves Silver, where he lives in a world that is devastated by a creature known as Iblis. With the help of Blaze the Cat, they find and defeat Iblis again. But Silver is frustrated with the fact that Iblis will regenerate, and the cycle will continue. But they are confronted by Mephiles, who tells them in order to change the future, they must go back in time to find the one who will unleash Iblis.
But that's impossible!
With my help, you can. Because I have the power to travel through time.
No way!
A sinister Mephiles fools Silver to believe that Sonic is the Iblis trigger.
I see it! So that blue hedgehog's the Iblis trigger?
Blue hedgehog.
Mephiles sends Silver and Blaze back in time to when Sonic was alive so Silver can kill Sonic. Silver also encounters Amy as she learns that Silver and her are looking for somebody and helps him find the person he's looking for, and vice versa. Now, I know what they were trying to do, create a plotline that was so epic it could be rival to any action movie. Or hell, even Jack 2. But my problem with the plot is that the plot isn't tied down entirely. That it can feel like it goes all over the place. It seems that Spider-Man 3 actually did a better job at tying plot lines down so well to make an epic plot. But in regards, the story isn't the best I've seen in a video game, but definitely not the worst.
There's no strength in numbers.
Like the story, the gameplay is divided into 3 parts: Sonic, Shadow, and Silver. Sonic's gameplay plays similar to the previous Sonic games, even back to the days of the Sega Genesis, with Sonic running from point A to point B, collecting rings, defeating enemies, etc. But there are some things that are added. First off is the Mach Speed sections, where Sonic runs incredibly fast and it's your job to avoid obstacles. There are times where Sonic will have to escort Elise in a level, in which Elise has the power to create a barrier around her and Sonic that allows them to walk over dangerous substances. Shadow's gameplay has some similarities, but yet it is different. Even with the speedy sections, Shadow is based more on combat. Like Sonic, Shadow can slide and do the homing attack, but Shadow has different Chaos abilities, including Chaos Spear, which is the very first time used in Shadow's gameplay. The only other time it was used is in the final boss of Shadow the Hedgehog. When the gauge is filled, Shadow can unleash Chaos Boost, which increases his attack and unleashes more Chaos powers, including Chaos Blast, which returns from Shadow the Hedgehog. Like Shadow the Hedgehog, Shadow can drive vehicles, in which some levels are mandatory, and actually they prove to be more useful than Shadow the Hedgehog. They also come with rocket launchers and machine guns. That's just awesome. Silver's gameplay is completely different from Sonic and Shadow. The main gimmick of Silver is his psychokinesis abilities. Silver is slower than Sonic and Shadow, so platforming and puzzle solving plays a bigger factor in his gameplay. Silver can float in the air, pick up objects, and using them as weapons. He can also temporarily paralyze his enemies and take control of them. Personally, I really love Silver's gameplay as it brings a new variety in the game. But my favorite probably would have to go to Shadow, as his chaos abilities were so much fun to use. At certain points, the game will switch to an amigo character that helps the three hedgehogs. Sonic has Tails, who can fly and attack with dummy ring bombs, which are more effective than Sonic heroes. Not to mention, he can also snipe dummy ring bombs as well, and Knuckles, who can glide and attack with his fists. Shadow has Rouge, who like Knuckles can glide, and like Tails can attack and snipe bombs, and Omega, who can fire different missiles and uses jets to glide. Silver has Blaze, who can run just as fast as Sonic, and uses her fire abilities to fight. And Amy, who can use her hammer to attack, has the ability to double jump, which in my opinion is probably the best thing about Amy's gameplay, let alone from a Sonic game, and also has the ability to turn invisible? Wait a minute! Since when does Amy can turn invisible? What is she, a chameleon? I fucking sue her ass. Anyways, whilst Amy has her hammer to attack, but doing this will make her vulnerable. She isn't my least favorite though. That honor goes to Knuckles. His attacks prove to have a problem that if you make a mistake, then you're screwed. This game has the same problem that previous Sonic games have. Trial and error. And there's a lot of it. Mostly in Sonic's gameplay. Most notably, the Mach speed sections. Where if you make one mistake and you will get screwed. And this is true in Crisis City. But personally, I don't think it's as bad as Jak 2. As I didn't want to throw the controller all over the place and went on a Hulk-like rampage. So that's a good thing. The bosses were very fun, as they require a special method to beat them, not just beating them in a fast time. And not to mention, they weren't frustrating at all. My personal favorites with each hedgehog were Egg Wyvern with Sonic, Methalus with Shadow, and Iblis's Phase 3 with Silver. The one final thing is the hub world. Sonic, Shadow, and Silver all explore Soliana, and can even perform town missions. These can range from really fun, like fighting enemies, to really dumb, like who's the captain. By completing levels and town missions, you earn rings depending on how high you rank, and you can use them to purchase upgrades, like Sonic's Bounce Bracelet, Shadow's Chaos Boost moves, and Silver's special psychokinesis attacks, by going to the shop. This to me is a welcome addition as it gives adventure to the feeling of the game, and not just like goes from one level to the next. I won't say anything about the load times and glitches since everybody's said about it. But the camera can be a problem, as to me, it's not up to par. There are times where there's action, but you can't get the camera to get to the right angle. Then there are times where you miss some things you can't see from the current angle. And then there were times where it just spasses out all over the place, most notably when you are jumping and you're hitting the ceiling. But with all of that, the gameplay still turned out to be rather good. If you could get past the load times, glitches, camera issues, and the annoying trial and error.
Piece of cake, no sweat.
This game doesn't show the full capabilities of the PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360, but the game still looks really good and shows a lot of depth to them. Each level is designed well and were a blast to go through. Some levels like Wave Ocean reminded me a lot of Seaside Hill from Sonic Heroes, and Crisis City reminded me a lot of Westopolis from Shadow the Hedgehog. The cutscenes also does a great job of the lip syncing, a thing that previous Sonic games had a problem with.
Who are you? And how do you know my name?
But the opening cutscenes were awesome, as the details were spot on and were good enough to be a rival to Pixar and DreamWorks. However, the frame rate can drop sometimes and epic slowdowns can happen. But even with that, I still thought that the designs of this game were really good.
Let's get moving!
If there was one thing that Sonic games never failed on, and that's music. And boy, does this game have a tremendous soundtrack. All the tunes were very fitting to the levels and were really catchy. There were some that were really soothing and relaxing. And then there are tunes that are really epic and give some tensions, even in the boss fights. The main themes, His World, All Hail Shadow, and Dreams of an Absolution were also really catchy and very enjoyable to listen to. Certainly better than some of the other crap that I've heard. The sounds themselves are the same as before, but the only things that are different are the jump sound effects and the sound effects when you go through dash panels. Now, I personally like the 4Kids voice actors, but most of the performances in this game were just average. The biggest problem was that there was a lack of emotion in some parts.
I'll make sure to change Elise's fate. And that, in turn, should change your future, too.
But with the average performances, there were still some really good performances.
My assignment was to rescue you, nothing more.
It's no use! Pull back! Pull back! Pull back! What you gave to me, I now return to you. A one-way ticket to oblivion.
Also, Princess Elise was voiced by Hollywood actress Lacey Chabert, who turns out to be a lifelong Sonic fan.
I remember the first thing I bought with like my allowance. I saved it all up and I bought the Game Gear system and I bought Sonic. And I played it till the buttons broke off. I loved it.
And to be honest, she did a great job, making Elise confident but yet concerned.
It's all right. We give thanks for the blessed flames. May we always continue to have peace. Son of Soliana, guide and watch over us with your eternal light.
So the music is tremendous, the sound, well, good, and the voices, average.
If you thought you knew blue, it's time to think faster.
All right, let's do it!
Now, do I think Sonic Next Gen is a terrible and one of the worst games ever made, let alone the last 10 years? The answer is no, not even close. Sonic Next Gen, I think, is a really decent game. Even though the game was rushed and it has a poor camera and consistent load times, and its fair share of glitches, I still enjoy it for what it has to offer. I guess you could say Sonic Next Gen is one of my guilty pleasures, and I'm not afraid to say that I liked it. And in my honest opinion, it is miles better than Sonic Heroes. So for this game, I say give this one a rent, but proceed with caution. And so my rating for Sonic Next Gen is... 7.7 out of 10.
Chaos Blast!